This is Electric People. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Electric People. We've got Todd Kanawyer on the podcast. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Honored to be here.
Thanks for being here, man. My favorite thing is, I learned this last night when I was talking to Castle. So you work up in Fresno with Castle. I'll go through your stats in just a second, but Todd was talking to his dad and letting him know how we do things around here and letting him know that his son happens to be one of the top performers in the industry. And your dad just recently retired after 40 years of football coaching.
Yeah, 40 years football coach. But I was on my way to Bible study last night, and I was just calling him to say, like, hey, I'm getting on the Electric People podcast. And because he's retired, he was like, hey, I'll drive you down there. Like, let's just go make a quick trip out of it. And so, yeah, he's been a great dad and a great role model to me.
So you guys drove down last night, had a chance to meet Papa Kanawyer this morning. What a cool thing, man. It was like my wife just dropped something off for me here, and I was telling her, I was like, dude, someday if I could, like, that's the dream. Like, to have my kids be like, hey, I have this accomplishment, and be like, can I come? Like, and take a couple day trip out of it. And
yeah, because I didn't know if I was going to, like, wake up at 4 a.m. and just start driving down here. And so we ended up coming in last night at, like, 12:30 and got some good sleep, and now we're here.
Love it. Well, most recently, we're on July 3rd today. So you just finished your second consecutive quarter of franchise plus 6-star, third quarter, second consecutive quarter, and just completed what you call the Trinity. What's the Trinity? Let them know, dude.
Yeah, so Phil Wood, Castle's big proponent of, like, just getting coaching, investing in yourself. And so 3 quarters ago, it was like Q4 of last year, started working with Phil Wood, and a lot of the, like, leaders work with that guy. He's awesome. But I just started kind of thinking, like, what goals what I want to set out to do. And we started just planning it out. And I was like, dude, it'd be really awesome if you could just hit, like, all 3 of, like, the highest metrics. And so obviously in sales, that's franchise, recruiting, that's 6-star. And then shout out to my squad back home, the Pirates. But
the Pirates, what up, Pirates?
Yeah. So, and then it was like, hey, let's be the #1 volume squad in the region. And so we set that out to be a goal, and Q1, Q2 hit it back to back, the Trinity.
There you go, man. In the #1 installing team, you guys just finished last week. 200. What was the final number for CS's last week out of Fresno?
215.
Yeah, doing region numbers in that team, man.
Yeah, we
I
got
don't know, maybe like a Bigs prep thing. Am I feeling or?
Yeah, that was exactly it. So just kind of getting out and seeing what the horse can do before the race, and we're cranking at a high level right now. It's awesome to see. We've got a lot of great leaders in that office.
Well, I'm really excited to tell your story. I know bits and pieces of it. I've always had positive interaction, but we've had multiple people reach out and say, hey, generally, you know, our senior leaders, our franchise hitters kind of come first on this podcast. And multiple people have been like, when are we going to have Todd? And I was like, right now. Like, literally, I think Robin texted you, like 2 days ago?
Yeah.
And said,
Adler and Castle, like, they said like a week ago, like, hey, we want to get you on. And then yesterday got the call.
Perfect, dude. Well, thanks for responding quickly. People need to hear it. So let me just rattle off some of these stats for people that you haven't interacted with. We're a big company now, and we've got multiple different channels. So I've been with Sunrun about 3.5 years, just over, you're getting close to that 300 mark, about 260 plus personal installs. We talked about the mark of performance. Again, a lot of people can do it in one category, but to be franchise 6-star and have the leadership element is pretty special. So I'm really excited to hear how you're juggling all those things. You know, you're leading the #1 team in the company with your partners, top volume squad in the farm region, #1 stock earner in the company last quarter. Did you know that?
Cool, I mean, I kind of track it all the way through, but it's awesome to, I mean, the equity is incredible, and just kind of, I learned this from Adler. He just came on and trained our Primos group. Mm-hmm. Me and Jerome, like, helped run the Primos program in the farm. And Adler, he came on and was just like, there's the way that you get compensated is just like going after what Sunrun wants you to go after. And so, like, obviously the equity is given to people that are going after, like, what Sunrun wants to do. So
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's awesome to be #1 equity earner, but then when you look at franchise plus 6-star plus top squad, I mean, and top team. That's literally how you do it. The cool thing for me now is to see like your career, you're right in the pocket. You know what I mean? Like right as you reach certain things and should be moving on to the next thing, you're there. So now developing a couple different leaders, getting ready to be market leaders. I think you have 2 of those. So again, like just when you look at the phases of leadership and development, right when you get there, turning around and helping other people get there, like I see you now starting to kick out leaders, starting to develop leaders, which is amazing. Former owner of Title 29.
Yeah. So I before I did this, I was a gym owner in Fresno. I owned 2 gyms, and that was a definitely like an awesome experience of going into business for yourself. I graduated from Fresno State, born and raised in Fresno, but I was going to be a PE teacher and football coach, following my dad's footsteps. And a week away from my graduation, the gym that I was managing, the owners, they were like, Todd, we're getting the heck out of California. Like, we want you to take these gyms over. And I literally said no to them like 3 times. Like, they took me out to dinner, then another one was lunch, but they were just really wanting me to take over their gyms so they could get out of California. Like I said, I told them no 3 times, but just started kind of praying about it, started talking to my parents about it, talking to my girlfriend, Renee, who's my wife now. And I was like, you know what, this could be an awesome opportunity being given to me of going into business for yourself. And so I did not enter like the credentialing program after my graduation to get my credential. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to give this a run. And it's crazy.
You could go back and do that later, like if you wanted to or something.
Yeah. Like, so the fallback was going into teaching and stuff. So gave it a run. It's like a funny story. I took the gym over, and the gym was at like 65 members. And within the first 6 months, I remember we reached 180 members.
Wow.
And I thought I was the shit.
You're just a business mogul.
I thought I was it. And proposed to Renee.
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget, like a month later, boom, COVID. And we went from 180 to like 20 so fast.
Did you have to close your gym? Like, could you keep it open or not?
Multiple times. Yeah, multiple times. So I remember we were like forced to close doors, shut down. And then a week later, we got to open back up. A week after that, close back down.
Jeez, that's
crazy.
Then,
yeah, it was nuts. And then the 3rd time around, we had like a private Facebook group, and I took a vote with every member, and I was like, hey, if you guys want me to shut down, I will. If you want me to paper up these walls and you have a place to go work out, I will keep this thing open.
Like cover the windows and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, back door. Like they called it the speakeasy time. It was awesome. But yeah, 100% of our members like said, hey, no, keep it open. Like, we want to be healthy. Like, we want to work out. And so kept it open. But yeah, like it was
you
just
setting stuff up in the parking lot and stuff. Like, I remember going to church in the parking lot.
We went to the parks. We went to the parks and ran classes. So like my gym, it was like traditional weightlifting classes, circuit training, and then also fitness kickboxing. And then I would teach people how to eat, and we'd run like, it was like a weight loss program. And I would always say like the members we had were career people, and it wasn't like for the younger crowd. It was an awesome time. But I quickly started to realize at that time when the COVID was happening, I jumped back into the credentialing. So I was doing both things. I was teaching PE on Zoom classes.
No way.
And I would be on my kitchen table, and I would be like, all right, kids, like jumping jacks. And I would be looking at them through a Zoom screen, and they would be in their living rooms. It was a wild time.
Dude, it wasn't that long ago, and that sounds like otherworldly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe what was going on. But just trying to make it through, and I was keeping the gym alive on one hand, and then on the other, I was getting into a credentialing program, and it was tough. But I'll never forget, a week away from my credentialing program, I'm about to become a teacher for like the 2nd time. And a week away from that, my good friend, who's one of my next market leaders, Hector Gonzalez, he was another gym owner. And he called me and he's like, bro, I'm either shutting doors or you buy this gym from me. And again, at the 2nd time that I was going to become an actual teacher, looked up and I was like, this is crazy. Like just something steering me. Like I just really felt like he was orchestrating, like not going into teaching. And so then that's when I picked up the second gym and I was doing that. And then I always tell my people or any recruits that I'm coming in, like I started to quickly realize in that sort of business or any type of business that you own, there's a lot of overhead. And in that certain business, as the economy goes bad, the gym is your business is the first thing people cut out of their budget, no matter how good you are.
What was like a monthly subscription like for a customer
Correct.
at your
so
place?
I would have ladies lose 100 pounds, 80 pounds, and then the next week their transmission goes bad and they're like, gotta quit.
How much was it? Like
it was like 180 a month, $185 a month.
So that's the first thing and they think in their head, I'll just do this workout at home.
Yeah. Once they learn it, they're like, I'm good. So that's what I started realizing. And then I was like, dude, my business is the first thing that people cut out. Like I got to start looking at something else. And so this is my story of finding Sunrun. So took all of my real estate classes. I was wanting to get into real estate. And at that time, I was ready to get my license. I was already working for a broker. And then at that time, my best friend, Richard and Reedley, like he had just bought a house. And he was like, dude, I'm going to go solar. And I was like, good luck with that. Like, don't know anything. Like, good luck, dude. Let me know how that goes. And the next night he called me up and I was like coming home from the gym and he's like, dude, you got to do this. I'm saving so much money. Like I'm sending him your way. I was like, oh my gosh. All right. I'll hear what this guy has to say.
And you owned a house at the time?
Yeah. Yeah. In Fresno. And so I had no clue who it was. And this guy's coming over. I'm tired the next night. And I text him to like say, hey, let's reschedule. He texts me. He's like, hey, it'll be super fast. I'm on my way. And this is like, oh man, this is just divine intervention, like at its finest. Up pulls this dude and he's in a Tesla Model S Plaid. And I'm like, oh, this guy's legit.
Yeah.
And at that time in Fresno, like dealers and door knockers were just running rampant. And I look back today and I'm like, it could have been any freaking dealer. Yeah. It could have out of the hundreds, and it could have been any rep out of the thousands. And the dude that walks into my door is none other than Castle Keeler. And we sit down and we end up literally talking for like 3 hours, like just going over like life, and it was incredible. And he told me like, dude, you don't go into real estate. Like you have to come to just one meeting. Like I think you would do really good. And I remember my wife getting home and I was like, babe, there's this.
A lot has happened since you were gone.
Yeah, I was like, there's this opportunity. And so I was always telling her like my plans and what, like she was always helping me. And I'll never forget it. I give her a hard time now. I'll never forget it. I was like, babe, there's this solar thing. I think I want to go like check this out. She stops and looks up and like closes her eyes and she's like, do not sell solar. And it's hilarious because now like just how much our life has changed because of the opportunity. But I went to one meeting and that was when like Castle and Adler and everyone, it was a show. Yeah. It was
like, honestly, like it was like a more professional setting, but it's like a it's a show. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like,
it was
down to the fog machines, the music, the recognition, the incentives, the games, the training. Like it was like going to like a development conference back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I just feel very fortunate that that's like my first experience ever of like walking into this that's where I got to be. And
what was your first impression? Like, what did you think you walk into that room, it's a bunch of people that look like you, have the same kind of like goals, ambitions, right? Like it's got to be a whole other, I've been in it so long, so I've seen the development. I've never had the experience of working hard, trying to start a business, trying to find my place in the world, and then stumbling into that world you didn't know existed.
Yeah, it was even that first meeting, like it was just like perfect. I remember going up for intros and I was like, hey, my name's Todd Kanawyer. I'm from here, Fresno. And then I hear in the background.
Everyone yells back at you.
Yeah. And I hear in the back, that's my boy. And I look back And it's Colin Hansen. He was my best friend at Fresno City football when we played there
No
together.
way.
And I'm like, what the heck? I go back there and I'm like, dude, you're doing this? And he was like, bro, you just hit the lottery, man. I was like, really? I was like, you're doing good. And I'll never forget, he kind of just gave a little nod and he was like, I'm doing all right. And I was like, but dude, here's the story is later in the meeting, they're doing team numbers. And I'll never forget, like Adler called up and they were like doing the big checks of the week.
Yeah.
Called up that guy, Colin, and right in front of me, he just said, I'm doing all right. Just got called up and Adler was screaming like, Colin Hansen, $92,000 in 1 week. Like, and I just was like, what is going on right now? Like, I just could not believe it. And yeah, it was just the perfect meeting. And man, I was sold like from day one.
That's amazing, dude. I love, I love like, there's so many examples there of like, one, like the fact that our leaders lead from the front and you got like a manager that like responds to the call and comes in as like the most capable of doing that sale, like at your house, you know, in Castle, and then seeing you and being like, you have to do this. Like a lot of times you see people and sometimes leaders are like, like, I don't want to like pitch the opportunity and have it not work or whatever. The fact that like, and I want to talk about like your conviction and belief, because that's like one of the things I think that stands out most about you and your journey. But the fact that you were met with that level of conviction and belief saying you have to come do this, you have to come experience it. I love that was that's that leaderhood thing that we talk about. It's somebody that sees you, thinks he's going to a sale, ends up talking to you and being like, I can see a vision for you. You have to come do this. And then, you know, putting together a good meeting, making sure it goes well, making sure it's an inspiring place for like up and coming talent to come create lives they're excited about. Like there's so many things that went right that I'm super proud to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. And then also like Scott Fetter was there talking and he just said that he had left like being a firefighter and showed like what his first year, how he had done. And it was just awesome. But yeah, Castle that night. So he like I signed up, he sold me. And then the very next day, I always try to pay this forward now because that's just incredible on his part. But when I went to the meeting, he canceled the account and he was like, dude, go sell yourself. Like, and so I've always like taken that with me, but that was awesome of him to like not wait until I was installed and then bring me in. Like he literally
give you a little assist.
Yeah. He signed me up and then the next day canceled the account outright and then like just let me sell myself. So
that's awesome. Now you can look at it and be like, that was pretty worth it. But back then you don't know. You don't know. You know what I mean? Like you literally gave up probably a good commission to give somebody a chance. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was it like as you started selling? I mean, you'd run a gym, you'd been ambitious, you were looking at doing real estate, but as far as like direct to consumer sales, this is your first experience with that.
Oh, it's a funny story. I'll never forget the first day I actually went out knocking. Like I got thrown into Castle's car and we're with a bunch of leaders and we drive to Atwater and they dropped me off in Atwater. And so I had come from like 4 years of selling like high ticket kind of like programs and thinking I was just going to come in and like crush. And I'll never forget, get dropped off. I'm talking like 60 doors and I don't get a single bite. Like people are slamming the doors on me and I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
So what's happening in your brain at that point?
I'm like, dude, I don't know what this is. Like, and here's the bad thing that I did. So, I remembered that in Atwater, I have a cousin that lives in Atwater. I literally called him. I literally called him and said, bro, come pick me up. And I went and hung out with him for like the last hour and a half.
Just
and
after
then
you'd been smoked all day.
And he was telling me like, bro, what are you doing? Like, and like, so I had a lot of naysayers, but, and then when it was time to go, I was like, oh, bro, go drop me back off. And then Castle found out later and like, it was funny, but
that is funny. It's, that it's the 0 to 1 that's hard, right? Like, because you figure out, like, they say that about surfing, like the 0 to 1 is so hard. Like, if you can't do it, you can't do it. So it's like, but once you get to level 2 or 3, then it's like, okay, now it starts to work. Like, I think of a sport like golf. You can suck at golf, but you can still put like club to ball, and even if you only hit it 7 yards, you can still do the thing, and then you can get better and better. Or like skiing, you can like get on skis and point down a mountain. You might suck, but you can go. With surfing, you can't even catch a wave. You're not in the right spot. Nobody gives you a chance. You're on the wrong equipment. You literally can't surf because you can't catch a wave. Like you can't get into it. And door-to-door sales are a lot the same way. It's not like the homeowners are going to be like, oh no, it's cool, man. Like I can see you're new. I'll hear you out. I'll give you a shot. Like they don't, the doors are one of the most honest places in the world where it's like, if you do things right, you get a shot. If you don't do things right, you don't. And so you can go 60 doors your first day and literally not even get a chance. But then once you get to that level 2, 3, it's like, okay, now I can build off this and I can go. But most people don't bridge that first gap, right? It's almost like saying, hey, I want to climb Everest, and the first step is the hardest, and then it levels off. That's kind of how this job is.
Yeah, there's this thing that I say, it's like you're building your gears. And I've kind of trained on this to the office and teams before, but when you get going, I always just kind of like do this comparison of you're building your like gear. And so when you first start out, like you're just a BMX bike, like one gear.
Single speed.
And single speed bike. Like you could be cranking as hard as you possibly can, but you could only go so fast. And then all of your repetitions, all of your sit downs, all of your no's and rejections, and every single door that you are just doing and building those reps, like you're adding a tooth to a sprocket and you're building your gear number 2. And then like you just keep building gears. And so now like I have so many gears built up that you can just be running at or like going at a really fast clip. And there could be someone working just as hard as I am, but they just haven't built those gears yet.
That's such a good visual.
Yeah.
And then once you get speed, like you think of like a hard gear on like a race bike or something, those gears are harder, but they're going with momentum. And so you see them pass you and they're pedaling, 1 time for every 10 times that you do.
Yeah.
And they're just going faster.
And when you start out, you're just cranking and you're not really
trying
moving
so hard in that first gear.
But it's like every rep that you take is like, you just got to think that you're building your gears.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So when did you start to get traction and feel, I mean, did you go home and were like, I'm not going to talk to my wife about this? Or were you like, no, I'll get it tomorrow? Like what was in your brain?
Yeah. I mean, luckily I just kept sticking it out, and like I just built great friendships, like, and I just saw like what Castle and Adler were doing. And like, I just really wanted to not give up. And so I just kept coming to meetings, kept learning, kept training, like kept going out. So you asked earlier, like when I first came in, it was difficult because I was the sole owner operator of those gyms. But I came in the summer, so it was getting late, or like the sun was out like super late. So this is not necessarily how any combine rep should do it, but I had an obligation, and I would leave my gyms early at like 5 o'clock in the night, because it was just very important that was like my livelihood. But I wanted to make this and give it like my hardest go. So I would leave the gym early at 5, like when I normally would leave at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I would just go out to the doors. I would literally say a prayer and get out, and I would knock hard for like 2-3 hours. And within those 2-3 hours, like luckily I was able to make it through combine. And I'll never forget, like once I made it through combine and 1 quarter, like it was like the first 6 months, I got out a Post-it note and I started like adding up all of the deals that I closed. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is more than I will pay myself from the gyms for 3 years. Like, and I just realized like the opportunity of this. And then the gyms started becoming ankle weights. And then after 6 months, that's when I decided to sell the first one. And then a month later, I was like, dude, I'm selling both and I'm going all into this. And it's just, beside from like my wife and son, this has just been the best blessing of my life.
Dude, I think the other thing that is really like, I don't even know if most people caught it, but the first day you knocked and had that hard day, you were in a car with the guy that recruited you. Like, He didn't say, all right, go out and hit it and let me know how you do, while he sat behind a desk and did calls. He drove you to Hood. He went out and knocked doors himself, came back and picked you up and said, how did you do? So even if you did have a bad day, even if you are struggling with self-belief, which your only experience was that. So yeah, the doubt's going to be pretty heavy, but the fact that he was there.
Oh, it was so much fun. Like after that, we went and got tacos.
Yeah.
Like we're hanging out and driving home for an hour, just like talking with the guys. And that part is like what was so much fun. And I'm like, I can do this.
It might have saved you. Like think of 4 or 5 days doing that by yourself with no association. If you didn't have really good leaders that like led from the front and were the real kind, like you might not have stuck it out.
Dude, I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
What one of the things that I know about your story is, and having owned gyms, you saw the opportunity the way that people that really capitalize on it see it, which is, you guys will fund this business for me. Like you'll stand up the office, you'll stand up all the things. You were coming from a world where you had overhead, right? You paid the lease, you did the equipment, you paid the insurance of the employees. Talk about what you saw there.
Any recruit coming in, like I tell them this story. It's like if my gym made 30 grand in a month, I then have to pay rent. I have to pay payroll. I have to pay the PG&E bill. I have to pay all of my software. Oh, that bag like got broken. I got to replace that punching bag or this equipment. And out of that, I would be left with such a small sliver, like 5 grand. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then
you have to reinvest that in the business. You can't just take it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so when I saw this, and luckily I was just able to see it, I'm like, dude, if I make 30 grand in this job, I'm keeping 30 grand. Like I don't have to pay for the lights or for the rent,
equipment, or the inventory guy, or
I don't. Yeah. Or like, it's just, when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Well, and then on top of that, like generally, I mean, that's what we call suburbanpreneurship, right? Where it's like you're basically taking your entrepreneurial spirit, which you obviously have in spades, but then you're using the company's resources and you're fusing that together to build a life that you're excited about. And so when you generally in a situation like that, in a gym, you don't take high pay or high commissions because you're trying to build it out for like hopefully someday like increased value in your business so you can have like an exit, right? So you can either have the ownership or you can have the commission. But the rare thing is, and especially like with your equity position now, here you can have both. You can earn and own. So you can earn in a risk-free environment. I mean, the only risk is 0, but it's not negative.
Yeah.
If you don't have people coming into your gym, you still have the lease and you still have the expenses.
I didn't have to take out a business loan to start this.
It's in your name. Yeah. But then you also have this opportunity to own at the same time. And I think that part of the performance that you've experienced is because you understood that. A lot of people look at it like, oh, well, I don't know if I would earn equity. But if you just go for it, it's all of the ownership upside and the earning upside without the massive risk of, hey, your business might not work, or hey, you might get an increase from your landlord, or hey, like tariffs and pricing on your equipment might erode your bottom line. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm so glad you say. I'm glad that you recognize that early. And for those that haven't seen that yet, it's like that vision, that mindset is the key to it. It makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? Like if you're in the middle of, I don't know how to describe this, so let's try it. But like, I'll go through kind of like the willingness checklist in my head. So all of the things that you want. So think about you newly married, just trying to get that teaching certificate, that elusive teaching certificate, right? And you got, a person you're responsible for, a girlfriend, now wife. And you're like, okay, I feel this responsibility to build a life for her. And so what if someone was like, hey, in order to build the ultimate life for you and your family, you're going to have to work long hours. Like the willingness checklist is like, check, whatever, fine. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, hey, if you're going to be fit, you're going to have to work out. Fine. You're going to have to not eat sweets. Great. Like check, 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 check. And so I look at the things like we're like, hey, you're going to get rejection. Check. If it means that I can have earnings and ownership and have this life that I'm excited about, what else? I mean, people are going to cancel. Okay. What else? Some are going to be mean. Some are going to say no. Some of your friends you're going to hire and they're not going to work out. Yes, yes, yes. And you're like, the people that see the compelling vision are like, I'm still waiting for you to say someone's going to physically attack me once a month, or where's the bear that I'm going to have to fight? And they're like, well, it's going to be kind of hard. And you're going to have some days that are bummer. And like, you're going to work long hours. It's pretty hot out there. And you're like, all right, check, 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 check. Like,
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that. My brother Jordan had this recruiting list. This is really cool. You're a top recruiter, so maybe you use something like this, but he called it the Get Hack checklist. Have you heard of this?
Get hack.
Get Hack. Get/hack. So he would write the names of people that he thought of down on his list. So he'd always try to have, 50 people on his wish list. So if I knew you in college, you would be on my list. So I'd write like Todd Kanawyer on the list. And then his rating was very simple. Could I get him? On one column, 1 to 10.
Okay.
Can he hack it? Column 2, 1 to 10. So there's some guys where they're like, well, yeah, you can get him. He's literally up to nothing. So 10 on the get list. And then there's the can he hack it? Well, that's a 1.
I was going to say, what's the hack?
Can he hack it?
Gotcha.
Can he do the job? Does he have the grit, the strength, the stick-to-itiveness? And so you're like, dude, I got this guy. He's really into video games. I know he's not up to much. You can get him. Take him to this meeting. He'll be stoked.
Mm-hmm.
Can he hack it? Oh, he can hack it. And so he simply had a very basic color coding system that was like, I think if it was above 6 in any category, and then it would just like the simplest system ever. So like if you were like a 6 on the get list, or say you're a 4, because you're like, he's ambitious, but he's got a gym, he's got like school, he's doing real estate. Like, I don't know if I can even get him. So like 3. But if I got him, I know he could do it. So 9.
Yes, there's people you wish you could, but they're just so set in their career, and
That's
it's like a decent career, and
so that's the balance. And so on that list, you would show up as like a green. You'd be 7, like a 7.2 or something like that, and you'd show green. And then he would just stack rank it by the highest rank. And so he'd be like, Kanoyer's my target. That's who I'm going after. And then Williams might be under him, and then Keeler might be under him, and then Adler would be like, I know I can get him. Can he hack it? I don't know. He's young. He just got fired from Enterprise. Times are rough. He's got that ponytail that he's not willing to part with. But then it's just a way to like rank people. And so when I think of you at that time, Get would probably be like in the 3 to 5 because you got a wife and you got a path. You're on it. But could he hack it? Those are the ones that are exciting where you're like, if I could get him, I know he could do it. You know what I mean? So
I'm
it's
going to
kind of
start using that. Like,
yeah.
That's incredible.
I'd be interested to hear your results. Yeah, the Get Hack list. I would color code mine too. And I would always try to have like 50 people in that like wish list. Because when you do that, things like think of your like the raw timing of your situation. You've worked crazy hard and you've developed and you've been around good people and you've done all the right things. But dude, a month either way, you might have missed it. Like the timing is so perfect. And so what the Get Hack or what any kind of recruiting system does is it aligns you with timing so that when that opportunity comes by, you grab it. It's just like knocking. Like on any other day, I could have knocked your door and not gotten you, but I heard you say one thing and I shot and I made it.
Yeah, the way things lined up, it is truly just like unbelievable. But yeah, just when the quarter ended this last couple days, at night, I was like brushing my teeth with Renee again. And I was like, could you imagine if I was like, you know what? I'm like, I have the gyms. I just gotta stick with those and like make it work. Like, I just can't believe like you said, like the timing and then the willingness to take the jump and to like make that risk I'm just so thankful that I did it.
Well, the crazy thing is this is like as a recruiter now and as a leader, what would have happened had you stayed with the gyms is you'd have a great life because you'd figure it out. You'd have success and you'd have community and you would build it. The thing that's impossible to quantify is there's all these alternative realities and you would have no context or no way to know what you were missing.
Yeah, I know.
That's the hardest part about it for me when I get people and then they can't hack it is it's like, or they go to some other company and I'm like, hey, this company now they don't pay every Friday, but I would always tell people for years, like they're going to pay you. You're not going to go there and immediately regret your decision because this is a disaster and you saw behind, like you're going to go there and it's going to be mostly fine and it's going to be hard, but there's 1,000 little things that are different from financing, from funding to fulfillment to strategy, all these different things. And the crazy thing is you're not going to realize how far off the life you could have had, you are. And so you almost don't even have a comparison. Like you see that, like I see it with my kids because I'm, in that like elevated vista of life. And I'm just like, it's like, you don't realize like getting a good grade, it's a B, not an A. You do that 10 times, you don't realize that like maybe you could have gotten a scholarship. Maybe you could have gotten into a club. Maybe you could have gotten into student council. Maybe you could have had maybe you could have tutored somebody else. Like there's a million little options that come from that. And so that's what I'm always trying to think of, like all these quantum realities where like Todd Kanawyer, gym owner, you'd probably have 5 and you'd be the man. And all the guys at Sunrun would work out at your gyms and they would always try to recruit you and you would never do it and you'd be happy in life. But don't know that you would have just gotten back from Tokyo and gotten another equity grant and had an opportunity to develop these other leaders. And that path gets you further and further and further. And after 10 years, you're an unrecognizable version of Quantum Todd that runs gyms, who's still happy, but it's not the same.
Gosh, that's so good. Yeah, I know. Like you look back and then you're just like, I can't imagine anything else.
Yeah. You're Quantum Todd now, dude. You're living that life.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude. Quantum Todd. One of the things that your leaders say about you, I'm actually going to read this. His leaders say they can coach Todd harder than almost anyone because he immediately applies the feedback.
Is that Castle?
Yeah. So talk about your one. That's an incredible compliment to say, like, I can coach Todd harder than anybody else because he applies the feedback. You should hear that and be like, that's one of the most supreme compliments that I could give a person is, I can tell them that's leaderhood. I can tell them what they need to hear because I know they'll hear it in the right way.
Yeah, I love that. Like, yeah, Castle and I like talk about that. And again, going back to just my upbringing, like I was fortunate that, like I said, had a 40-year football coach. And
yeah,
he always told me like the number one like thing you can be is coachable.
Really?
Yeah.
So your dad has said that to you for your life.
Yeah. There was a year when he coached me, and that was the hardest year I've ever been coached.
Because he treated you like a player.
I have some crazy stories from that year. But yes, like being able to be coachable and like take it and just go apply it and like make the changes and just know that, hey, he cares about you. He wants your success, and it's not anything other than that. And so it's like, don't get weird, like take it and just go change really fast. And if you can do that, you're going to be coachable and you'll have more success.
Dude, feedback is such a gift. It's a mindset. Like you recognize that your mindset, like all of the path that you're forging, we talk about electric triangle, like vision comes first, like the way you see and think about things comes first, because you see feedback as a gift, you're able to apply it and get better. A lot of people see feedback as like criticism or evidence that you don't like me or that like I'm not good enough. And
it's easy to think that way.
It's easier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you spiral. And you said something, maybe it's your experience with your dad, but you said something that I think is really valuable. Like he cares about me. That's why he's saying this. Feedback is hard to give, right? Like think about that. Like you're in a situation now where you have to coach reps. And a lot of times you're like, oh, I need to talk to him about it. And you sit with it and you wrestle with it and you toil and you worry how their wife's going to, what they're going to hear secondhand and like all that reaction. Like I always tell people when it's a difficult conversation, like if I didn't care, I wouldn't say anything. It's easier to say nothing. Mm-hmm. It's easier to be like, whatever, he'll figure it out. It's hard to say, hey, that was a great training. And honestly, it was probably better than anyone else's. There's one or two things that you could improve because you could say, dude, is it ever good enough? But it's like, no, I'm saying this because I think you can handle it and I care. Mm-hmm. It would have been much easier to just go get lunch with the guys and not say anything. But you do that with your kids. Like, hey, I love you and I ultimately want you to do well. That's why I'm telling you this.
Yeah. Yeah. Devin Arp just came and trained the office and it was just on the pitch. It was like on the pitch. And you can just like, if you're a 6 out of 10 door, like get the bill, like that's great. But it's like, can you get to the 7 or the 8 out of 10? Like it's just always trying to get better. And again, it's being coachable.
Yeah. And I think your most senior people, like as you look to the most senior people, they always want the feedback. It's one of the clear distinguishers of senior leaders is I'll give you an example. So I reported to Chance Allred. I mean, he was my first regional manager in alarms. Chance is the first door-to-door sale I ever personally saw. Chance Allred. I still remember knocking that door. I can still see the guy that we sold. He never sat down. The guy stood up the whole time. His wife was gone. It was a whirlwind. I remember leaving and being like, did we get it or not? Like, but Chance wanted to show me a sale. And so and it was a Saturday in Utah. Like, it was all of the things that Castle did with you, like took me out on doors. I was young potential, did the sale, showed me how to do it, talked to me about it afterwards. But so Chance was my boss for 17 or 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, forever. And in alarms and then in solar and like different worlds, right? And he was doing a one-on-one with me, just like a cadenced end of quarter one-on-one. He put it in my schedule and he was like, okay, talk to me about your business. And at the end, he's like, I always try to give at least one piece of feedback. And so this was the feedback he gave me. I still remember it. He said, you have a lot of great ideas. What that can often bring with it is sometimes if it's not your idea, you have a hard time getting behind it. And so other people will bring other ideas, but you're too set in your ways and other people feel that way too. And I was like, well, thank goodness you told, like,
Yeah,
people
like, oh,
feel like
crap,
I'm the one that I feel like I'm a collaborative person. So in my head, it didn't line up, but I was like, well, good. You told me something. And then I thought the interview was over and he said, okay, what feedback do you have for me? My boss. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, what do you think I could do better? And I was like, you're just a highly developed person that wants the feedback. He's like, I told you what you could do better. Now you tell me what I can do better. And I always remembered that it's like, oh, to a leader, feedback is a gift. You see me as somebody that's highly developed and I might see something that you don't see and you want to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
An amateur would be like, yeah, I'm not interested. You actually report to me. So I'm not interested.
Yeah, no, that's great. I have guys that like sometimes they've told me something and I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that, or like I didn't even see that. And it's just very helpful of being like a leader inside this company.
What's a piece of coaching on that same note that you've received that has stuck with you or maybe altered your trajectory? Can you think of a specific piece of advice or
like from Castle or from like
yeah, like in your career, something that people could apply here, something that like, is there anything like that stands out?
Man, I'm lost right now, honestly. What I was talking about right then and there was I have a good friend, Jordy. He's a rep on our squad. And I get so like hyped up into like the overall quarter numbers. And so like if I'm running like an incentive and it doesn't really seem to move the needle, I just will like scrap it and throw it away, even though those reps feel like they pushed for it and they deserve that dinner. Like
you're on to the next thing.
I'm on to the next thing. Yeah. Like how can we just move the needle and like go out and crank?
Yeah.
And so there's this last quarter, it's putting yourself in the rep's shoes. And because like that little thing, I didn't think it was big. And I'm like on to the next bigger thing, bigger picture. And so I had to stop and realize and put myself in their shoes. And it's like, hey, every little incentive like matters. Mm-hmm. And even like a brand new combine rep, when they first come in and they win their first pair of shoes, that is huge.
Massive.
Huge.
When is it like you think about, like, it's crazy because we get used to it, but to a new rep, they're like, this guy just bought me shoes and now I have shoes that I didn't have to pay for. Like, it's a big deal. Yeah. You probably get shoes and you're like, I don't know, I'll wear them to the gym. You know what I mean? It's become commonplace for you.
Yeah. You know? I remember my first thing, I just wanted one of those freaking bats. Yeah. Like, that's all I wanted.
How many bats you got now?
Now it's like, I don't even, it's
you're like, no more bats, dude. The wall's full.
I have 4 like in my garage floor now, like that just haven't even made it to my office.
Talk to me about consistency. So same gas station every day, same energy drinks every day. Is this what it is? What do we got here? We got the Ghost.
This is the second choice.
You're like one of the healthiest people I know, and you're in here sucking down a Ghost sour strips flavor.
Oh, you should talk to the Fresno guys, man.
They're the ones that told me this. So how important are that's kind of a funny thing, but how important are routines and rituals to your success? Or you're a routine-based person?
So, going back, I mean, I just had a one-on-one with Castle, and he's like, I can't believe you're doing this, like, and you don't have a dialed schedule. It's like he was about to have a stroke. And so this quarter, I'm really focused on getting a schedule, and then actually sharing a calendar with Renee. And because I've just been always like fly by the feel of the day. And so as you get up into like different roles, like you have to be more of like an administrative and like have a schedule, have a calendar. And so that's something I'm really focusing on right now. But, like back in the beginning, it was just my first and for anyone out there that is wanting to, they're in that first gear, they're in that single speed bike. Like I always made it a point to like, I'm just going to go where I'm known the most. So I grew up in Reedley my entire life. That is where I went to knock. Wherever I went around to high school. And I always tell reps this is like,
that's funny because a lot of people would avoid those areas.
I'm like, go once you know what you should say, like don't go on your first day.
Yeah.
But when
They're like, Todd, what are you doing? You're like, I don't know. Like, help.
Yeah. But when you have the basics and the fundamentals, it's like, go give yourself the best opportunity to run into someone you know and believe that you're actually helping them, which you are.
Yeah.
And so go where you're known. I also like in my house in Fresno. So I knocked in 2 places. It was Reedley and my literal next door neighbors. I just started spiraling.
Like your whole career, that's where you've stayed.
Yeah.
You stayed in the same pockets for 3 years.
Fresno and Reedley.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just started going. I remember going to my next door neighbors, this sweet old lady named Sandy. And I'm like, just told her what I was doing. And she was like, yeah, like come in and show me. And I closed her. And then she had another rental in Fresno. And I did that one. And then across the street, did that one there next door. So before I moved, I would walk out of my house and I would look straight ahead and I would see solar panels. And then the next door neighbor, solar panels. Neighbor on the corner, solar panels right next to me. And
that's great, dude.
It was just cool to see every day like I did that. And
that's how my neighborhood is now. My next door neighbor has solar and their son worked for us for a while. And then, neighbor across the street, we'll get him. I've given him a couple proposals even now. And then like you go a few doors down and I'm starting to get surrounded by them. It's a different mentality because a lot of people are like, I don't like work with people I know. And what if
they get nervous to do that? That's right. But it's like you gotta give yourself the most upper hands that you can in this job.
That actually leads me back to the belief thing. So it's said about you and kind of prepping for this that you're that one of your superpowers is high levels of belief. I don't know if that's something that you would say about yourself, but that is what people say about you is you have this ability to believe and cast vision and to like move towards it. Talk to me about that. Where does that come from? Do you feel like that's one of your strengths? And where do you see that fitting now that you're coaching like new reps?
Man, there's so many different ways I could go, but I mean, I love watching inspiring stuff. I vividly remember, and I have nephews now that are 14, 15 years old, and they've never seen Gladiator. Like, I remember, I was born in 94. That movie came out in 2000. I saw that movie in the theaters. In the theater, I went to that movie.
I picture little Todd just like ripped with muscles, 6 years old, standing in the back, being like.
And now I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was watching that at 6.
That's heavy.
Yeah,
it's heavy.
Yeah, and then this is how I got pitched. I was like at my grandma's house and he came over and was like, hey, you want to go watch a movie? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, what's it about? He's like, this guy that fights tigers. And I was like, yeah, let's go watch it. So
of course, I don't even ask, just put it on.
Yeah. So I've always loved just watching inspiring stories. Like, I mean, I just love documentaries and that stuff, but I take that and like Taylor Turnbull always says, like he just curates throughout his life of like what he's going to come and bring to us. And so I've just kind of taken that and you just want to inspire others. And I love just inspiring stories and just standing up there and like telling that to the office. But yeah, like the belief thing, I would say I'm like a strong man of faith. I have been fortunate to have success like throughout like my life, and I've had many failures, made many mistakes. I just watched this Denzel Washington video and they were like, how do you want to be remembered, Denzel? And he just went on a roll of like, I want to be a man of God. I want to be wife loving, children loving, and I did the best with what I was given, and to God be the glory. Only the mistakes were mine. And that ending statement of like, only the mistakes were mine. It's just, man, things like that just stir me. And I just love bringing that to my team. And I like the culture of everything and feeling like we can just go out and conquer. Like, it's just awesome.
That's the headspace, right? I mean, literally, like we often say this, but the head is the software, the body's the hardware. The hardware does what the software tells it to do, right?
Yes.
And so if you think, oh, dude, nobody wants it, this turf is pounded, it's so freaking hot, and it's the fourth, and no one wants to talk, then the software, the hardware is going to perform in kind. But if you say this is an awesome opportunity, it's better than what they have, other people are doing it, so why not me? The hardware performs in kind, right? Like I look at I'll give you an example of myself. So you do fitness, right? So like I've always in my head thought of myself as like a small guy. I'm 6 feet tall. I weigh 180 pounds. I'm not like small, right?
Yeah.
And I surf and ride mountain bikes and ride motorcycles. I'm actually like, I've done endurance races. I'm actually like, for how often I physically work out in a traditional way to my actual performance, I'm actually incredibly athletic. But I never played traditional sports. And so I have this story in my head where I'm like, I'm kind of like this small guy that's not very athletic. And so if you think about it, it's like, you could look at me and be like, what are you talking about? And see a completely different reality. You could say, do you know how hard surfing is? Do you know how much strength you need to snowboard at that level? Do you know? And you'd be like,
you're probably way more athletic than I am right now.
It's crazy, but it's like just the story that we tell ourselves, right? And so if I could imagine those two different mentalities, and I show up at your gym for like a, whatever, like a 6-week boot camp. One of me is like, I'm kind of like small and I really don't like push myself that hard and I'm not like an athlete. Versus I show up and I'm like, well, I'm capable of whatever anybody else is capable of and I'm going to get the most. You've never seen a guy work like me and my body's going to respond. I'm going to have such drastically different results.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The mental warfare in this job.
It's everything.
Is insane.
Yeah. So I just think about like when you say like, oh, I like to watch inspiring things and I like to see people that rise up and I just want to communicate that to my team.
Or I need it for myself too. Yeah. Like I could write a book on this last quarter, Q2 of this year, like of how many times I was battling my mind of, okay, you got 6-star, you're not going to hit franchise this quarter. Like, and then like something good would happen. It was a quarter of trading blows back and forth the entire 3 months. Like I said, I could write a book on all of the negative, crazy things that happened. And then I literally had my one-on-one with Castle on Tuesday last week, and I was at 14 installs.
Wow.
And I told him straight up.
So that's what, 8 days ago?
Yeah, I told him straight up. I was like, Castle, I fought harder than I have ever fought out of the other quarters. And it's not going to happen. I literally, Andrew Mendoza that morning in the office, he's like, bro, are you going to hit it? And I'm like, no. I literally told him, no, I'm not. And then that was Tuesday at a meeting. The next day, the floodgates opened up and I scheduled 5 installs that day and was, just giving it everything I got. And then I was like, oh my gosh.
You're not going to end at 19, that's for sure.
And then I was like, I need one more. And yeah, just got it done. And like, and then I look back and I'm like, man, so many times throughout that one single quarter, I was going back and forth of like, you battle your mind. Like your mind is saying, hey, like figure out a way to cope with, you're not going to hit it.
Yeah.
And then something happens and then you like, let's go. And then you get hit again and it's just crazy.
I think it's great because your leaders say like, oh, he has such strong belief. But then to hear you say like, dude, I'm just like everybody else. Like, I work on my belief, but it's not like you never have doubt. Like it's just, I always say like every championship has a time where it almost wasn't. Right? Like, it's not like anybody just skates to the end of a champ. Like, if you're a professional, like a basketball team, it's like, okay, there's other really good teams that don't want you to win. So you're going to have in those 80-something games some moment where surely one of them gets one over on you, right? Like, it's not like what we always see is like sometimes it's hard, or you have those 14 moments and you're like, we're surprised. As if it was supposed to be easy. Like Kobe Bryant has that quote, you can't possibly expect this to be easy. You're performing at the highest level. You're earning at the highest level. You're delivering at the highest level. Literally number one team, number one squad, number one franchise, like status. And like, those are all the highest levels. You can't possibly expect it to be easy. But I love hearing like the vulnerability of like, yeah, dude, like I honestly thought that I wouldn't make it. But then once the floodgates open, if you're at 14 and those floodgates don't open and you're like, you got to get one more, you probably don't get it. If the floodgates open, you start feeling that momentum, you start feeling that belief, there's nothing stopping you from getting it. You'll freaking build a home and install on it if you have to, you know?
Yeah. The last install, permits come back. They are on a family vacation to Costa Rica.
Here we go.
No service. And I find them on WhatsApp. And tell them like the process of there's still more steps to go after the install, and I don't want this process to stall. I sent in text confirmations of the install, just screenshotting WhatsApp messages. Like it was an incredible quarter.
That's what you do, man. That's great. Hey, I want to play, a couple people sent questions in, so I want to play, I'm actually going to splice this in here, but this is a question from Castle.
Baby.
Oh, baby. He actually sent some really good ones. Our boy did you right. So let me play this here, and interested in your response.
Todd, pumped that you're on Electric People Podcast today. Wish I could be there. A quick question I have for you that I think would be good for the group is, you made your transition from owning the gym to coming to Sunrun full time. What advice would you have for those that have something good going for them but are trying to make the transition from whatever they're doing now to going all in on Sunrun? What is something you did well, and what's something that you wish you would have done better with the transition?
Man, that's a great question. That goes back to like, yeah, if they have something really good going on, like at that moment in time, I thought I had something really good going on. Like I thought it was so cool. I'm a 2 gym owner and I'm going to go knock doors. And so if you are bringing someone in, you really have to sell them on like what the potential of this is. If I didn't see from day one, like I remember like Castle like opened up his computer and like showed me the reps as like pipelines. And I'm thinking, there's no way. And then I went to that first meeting and everything lined up, and my good friend from football at City College, like $90,000. Like if I did not see that, I wouldn't have been like, this is worth my time.
Right.
And if you are like juggling something else and you first come into this job as like you're thinking it's going to be like a side gig, you have to, if it is going to be a side gig, you have to give that time you allotted for this. You have to go reckless, abandon, and try to physically see if you can make this side thing produce more than your main thing. And just, again, yeah, like you got to be going as hard as you can for whatever amount of time that you are able to be giving that first opportunity. Mm-hmm. One thing I would think I could have done better is, man, that's a hard one. Honestly, that's a hard one.
'Cause you only know what you know, right?
Yeah.
Like at that time. What's advice that you give to other people that come in though, that are saying, hey, I have this other thing going? Most people aren't 2 gym owners that have doubled or tripled the size of their subscriber list, right? Say I come to you and I've got this other thing going on. What are you telling me to do?
You gotta, like I said, you gotta paint the picture. You gotta get them excited. Another one of my leaders, Andrew Mendoza, he was interested. He hit me up on Instagram because I just post like, I don't post my checks. I post like other reps and just show like what it can be doing, like what it can do for people, and just post good things about what's going on great in other reps' lives. I remember him reaching out to me, and he had just got promoted from his other company, making like 90 grand a year, had a company truck, all this and that. And the next weekend, like I saw him at a wedding, and I just was showing him everything, and he made the jump, and he is now one of my best leaders and one of the best leaders in Fresno. And I just had this yesterday. So I hope this ages well, and I know it will. But my future brother-in-law,
Okay.
my future and brother-in-law just came in, and we had a lunch with Castle. Castle took off. I brought him back into the office and started showing everything, and I was just everything in the kitchen sink, and kind of explaining to him, like, you're W-2 right now, and I explained to him the benefits of being a 1099 business owner, and I just went through like the tax differences, and just showed him again, like what the problem we have, like that we are solving, how that you get paid on relation to the problems you solve.
Right.
And the problem that we are attacking is just the biggest in the world. And if anyone's trying to bring someone in that has something else, like you have to have the full level of conviction behind what you're saying in order for them to even believe it. Because if you breathe doubt, they are not going to take you seriously.
I think that's a really important conviction, because a lot of times, it's like, okay, what do you say to that guy? And as if something you say is going to change their mind. What I often tell people when I'm recruiting, especially high-level people, is I actually tell them, I'm not here to recruit you, really. I'm going to expose you to all of the information, and then you're going to make a smart decision. But what I show them, if I don't show them comp, if I don't show them somebody that was in, like, that's what you do when you sell. You talk about somebody else that was in their exact same experience and the reality that they're now experiencing because of your product, right? So you have somebody that's coming in, and you say, okay, here's a guy that's just like you. He just started. He also wants to be a leader. This is his path. This is what he's earning, and then open the database. It's hard because with casting vision is something you see, not them. So I always tell, like, imagine if you're sitting on a beach with Renee and she's blind or has her eyes closed, and she's like, what do you see? You love this person. So you say, oh my gosh, there's a seal that just popped out of the water, and there's there's this like pelican that keeps swooping down, and there's this mist and you're going to describe it in such vivid vision because you want her to experience something.
Yeah.
But if she's been on your nerves and is annoying you, you're like, whatever, it's a beach. Like it's a beach, babe. Like beaches are great. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think in this, like the thing that I'm hearing and taking from it is you have to commit to explicitly detailing the vision, because once they see it, they can make up their own mind. But if they never see it, they're not gonna make the decision with full context.
Yeah. I sent everything I could and explained to him as much as I possibly was able to. And my sister called us on the way down here last night, and he put his 2 weeks in, and
wow,
he's coming in. So I'm excited.
Let me play one more. This one I actually think is really cool for our values of leaderhood and giving back and stuff. But this is another Castle cue. I asked him for one, he sent me 3. That's how we go.
Todd loves nice things. He has very expensive taste. But one thing I've noticed about Todd is he could be wearing a Rolex, but that Rolex doesn't define him. He's not walking around talking about it, bragging about it. Now, he is excited to show people, and he just he has this level of excitement about everything in his life, but it doesn't seem to define him. And despite all the success he has, he's the same person today that he was before. He's just a better version of himself. And so the question I have for Todd that I think that everyone needs to hear is, through all the successes you've had, how do you maintain a high faith and trust in God, number one, and also a love and deep care for your family, and continue to treat everyone the same regardless of their status in life? So what are those things that you do to remain humble and stay grounded?
Love that. Yeah, boy, do I like watches and just
I noticed
fun
you're wearing
things.
something deliberate with style. What do you got on there today? What is this?
This
What's
is
the
a
story?
Cartier.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, so I mean, again, you got to be constantly like Q4 last year, you can let it start getting to you, and you can start like that pride cycle. And you make mistakes, and I just always run back to the Lord. Like, that's my number one thing. And so at the end of last year, I had never ever done this before, but I was like, I need to like get more involved in my church. And so I decided to join like a men's group. It's called Rooted. I think it was started down here in Orange County, but it's a big program in churches around like now all over America. But it was like a 10-week men's group, Thursday nights. Like, I gave up my Thursday nights. It starts at 6. So like all my closes and all that stuff, like I just had that to be a priority that I just got to do this. And I did those 10 weeks, and it ended up being like such a blessing. And that was all through Q4. And the funny thing is I'm still in that group, and we have such a great group of guys that I did not know like 4 months ago. And we all now we have it's called a life group, and we've continued on to just every Thursday night we meet and go over each other's life and work. And they know all about Sunrun. They literally know because I missed yesterday. I told them, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm driving down to San Clemente. Pray for me. And so they all know about this right now. But it's just you got to be focused on like your life first. I've always like in Fresno, it's faith, family, freedom. And that's just been ingrained to all of us in the culture of our office. And you got to have a strong faith. If you make mistakes, don't worry one bit, like that we're humans, and just get back to what you know is like where your heart should be. Focus on your family. And then if that stuff is in line, then you're able to just go out freely and really be the full version of yourself in terms of work and your work side of things.
Yeah, I agree. That's really awesome, man. Like, you need that level of grounding. You need people around you that'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times success is a bit isolating. You know, another thing that I kind of hear in your story that I personally believe is, I'm trying to think, I just heard this recently, but any success you've had, right? Think about it. Like you've applied the effort, right? But you think about it like, well, you were born in 94.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty unique time to be an energy salesman, right? Like, you know, you're of age during one of the largest like transitions of, you know, life fuel that is energy ever. It's like you just happened to be born then. You know what I mean? You got a great dad, right? That like,
and mom, like,
I'm sure.
yeah.
I just met your dad, but of course, right? Like, so like, dude, two parents that loved you, that cared for you, right? Like, you happen to be alive during the most prosperous time in human existence ever, in the most profitable, like, or in the most prosperous society that has ever existed, in a time of emerging technology, in a time when, again, energy is the new gold. And you happen to meet people that like, so yeah, you applied effort, but oh my gosh, like my whole life I've learned, like, as much time as you think you're the driver, you actually like will be shown over and over again that you are the passenger, right?
Yeah.
Your job's to travel well through this thing because whatever, but your body works and your brain works and you have a woman that loves you, and you like, there's a lot of things contributing to the success. And I think what everybody says about you is you have a really good awareness of that, because it's almost like, you know, you've heard that thing. It's like the second you think you can do it by yourself, God or the universe lets you, and then you're like, okay, come back. Like,
yeah,
I need help again.
Yes.
You know, but I think, again, a lot of what I take away from your conversation is the way you think is truly elite and unique. And if other people could think the same way, they would likely have very similar results. That's the programming that it makes you magnetic to customers, to reps, to people, and honestly, like success, like that's the language, right? That's the universal language. Last question, and I'm going to put up a pair of Metavision glasses on it. You know, like the ones that Zuck's been wearing, where you can actually, like, I don't know, Apple's going to have some glasses soon. I think we'll all like whatever. But for now, the Metavision glasses are the ultimate in like nerd wearable tech.
Okay.
to anyone that can beat you in an arm wrestle.
What do you mean?
Well, I know that you're the Sunrun arm wrestling champion.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
So I'm putting it out there. If you win, you can have them, but get at me, DM me, get on the roster. And
there's
at our
some
next
dudes
Run X
that are going to come out of the
conference-
woodworks for this.
and they're going to break some forearms. But they were like, dude, you have to understand that Todd is the Sunrun arm wrestling champion. So I'm sure you've gotten that for a reason.
Dude, no, I don't know. I went to, in college, there was this TV show that came on and it was called like Arm Benders or something weird. And I watched that Sylvester Stallone, like over the top. I was playing football at City and I just Googled like arm wrestling tournaments. And there was one down in Petaluma. And I literally just drove down there and I ended up taking first place.
There you
Like
go,
it was
dude.
crazy. But yeah, I'm sure there are some we'll
see.
studs in
We'll see.
Sunrun, and I'm sure that they will give me.
Listen, get
No.
at me. We'll make a roster at the Run X conference. We'll put it up. I've got meta glasses. I'm sure the other VPs will put cash on it. We'll get a little treasure chest going. It reminds me of that guy in Over the Top that's drinking like the can of Pennzoil. You know,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
getting ready to go after it. Hey, well, I'm really excited for what comes next. I think you have a long career of building out leaders. And I'm so excited for the success that you've had. Thank you for driving down. Thank you for sharing. Anything to say that we didn't cover before we close out?
No, just thanks so much for having me and everyone out there. Like, I just love working with all of y'all. And let's just go put a massive dent in this problem and change the world.
Let's go. Well, thanks for being on, Todd, and continued success in the future.
Thank you.
All right. If you like what you hear and are interested in joining the team, DM us on Instagram at RunXStreet.
What are you waiting for? Shoot us a DM and let's get going.